Good morning. It's Monday, November 10th, the Marine Corps birthday. That's today. Today is their birthday, which is why it was weird that Veep Vance shut down the 5 freeway and flew rockets over that freeway in my beloved Oceanside to celebrate the Marine Corps birthday last month. I think the Marines should be celebrated every day, but their birthday was last month. Anyway, today is the 250th birthday of the Marines. Happy birthday to the Marine Corps. And now, the news. Before I start, if you're watching on YouTube, a couple of quick things. First of all, look, I'm sitting now. Also, I tried to fix my microphone and couldn't, so for just a little bit longer, I'm currently using this cute little one. And then also, elephant in the room, this is very embarrassing, but I am so good at so many things, and I'm smart in so many ways, and yet I was bested by a 3-hole punch, and will now have the honor of wearing this very embarrassing little thing for the next 2 weeks while my thumb heals from, again, being bested by a 3-hole punch. If you're watching with your ears on classic podcast apps, everything is normal. My thumb is fine. I'm good at 3-hole punching. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm fine. And now back to the news. Starting with the government shutdown, it's still shut down, but it is possible it's almost not. Last Friday, Chuck Schumer took to the floor of the Senate with the following plan to end the shutdown. Extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for a year while negotiations continue, and Democrats would be willing to vote on a continuing resolution that would fund the government through January, as well as a 3-bill minibus of full-year spending that was already part of a previous talk. So what is going on here? Why, after Democrats swept last week's elections, seeing huge wins in even so-called deep red states, is Chuck Schumer now saying that they're willing to go back to the table with basically the same thing that they've been talking about for 41 days? Because this was always about healthcare, and what Chuck Schumer was proposing on Friday pushed Republicans to either give Americans healthcare, or be very obvious about the fact that they do not want to give Americans healthcare, which they don't. They've been very upfront about that from the very beginning. This is a win-win either way. Now, what Chuck Schumer did on Friday seemed to move the needle a little bit, and over the weekend, at least 10 Senate Democrats signaled that they were ready to go back to the table to sign off on a deal to reopen the government. That bill includes a vote to extend the ACA tax credits for a year, but that vote would not take place until December. It would also undo the layoffs that Trump enacted during the shutdown, which is super confusing because didn't I just, like a couple seconds ago, talk about how we swept all those elections last week? And didn't I just talk about how this whole thing has been about healthcare? Why are we giving up this one big thing? We can win. We can win. We're going to vote in December? We can't win in December. We don't have the votes. We don't have, what are we doing? I realize that we are Democrats and therefore winning is not our strong suit. I do get that, but we could do this. This is so silly. Good job, Senate Democrats. We did it. Chuck Schumer was like, hey, what if we took the momentum that we had from doing really well in our elections, seeing that the American public backs what we believe in, even in so-called deep red states, we have the backing. What if we took that momentum and told Republicans that all we want to do is extend something that is currently already there. We want to extend it for a year while we talk about a way for Americans to have cheaper healthcare. It doesn't need to be the ACA. We'll find a way for them to have cheaper healthcare. What if we just do that? What if we keep the debate going? And other Democrats were like, great idea. What if we don't do that and instead later do a vote that we know we're going to lose? So I think good idea. So we'll see what happens today, Monday, if the House comes back into session and if the House votes. Hopefully this shutdown will end soon. Bummer that it's going to end without Americans having healthcare. Now 20 million Americans are probably going to lose access to healthcare. That is really, really bad. But in the meantime, as I've mentioned in every single episode, and as has been leading the news in everywhere, SNAP benefits are not being fully paid out to their full amount, if at all. However, some states, as well as nonprofits, are trying to make it happen by suing the administration to force Trump to release the billions of dollars in funding that is available for a moment like this. Kelly Clarkson reference unintentional. Now, because those funds do exist, because they were made for a moment like this, Kelly Clarkson reference, totally intentional that time, and because it's ethically the thing to do, every judge has ruled in favor of releasing the SNAP funding. But Donald Trump, unbelievably, but also believably, because we know who he is now demanding that states who have paid out SNAP benefits, he wants them to, quote, undo those payouts. Undo them. It is unclear whether undoing those payments means that states must return the money to the program, or worse, if he is saying that individuals who received the money will need to send it back. And it's just that kind of chaos surrounding SNAP benefits that the administration is looking for. But will it work? Will it work? To quote Wisconsin's Governor Evers, no. That's in response to Trump's demands that the states send the money back. Just a straight up no. Maryland's Governor Moore also had this to say about the SNAP chaos. Quote, there is a chaos, and it is an intentional chaos that we are seeing from this administration, end quote. That's the same thing I said. Should I be a governor? I should be a governor, but of which state? Flights are also being disrupted all over the country as the FAA announced, per Trump, a 10% drop in flights in 40 of the country's busiest airports. The 10% will not be all at once, but it will be gradual. This is, I would say, for me, a great government. I have no notes. And in other big political news, Nancy Pelosi, the first female Speaker of the House and genuinely the best who ever did it. I don't care what you thought about her politically. Well, I do care what you thought. I care what you think. I'm saying, regardless of what you thought about her politically, unobjectively speaking, she truly is the best speaker that the House has ever seen. Nancy Pelosi announced that after holding California's 11th congressional seat since 1987, she will not seek re-election this year. Really shaking things up, Pelos. And finally, listen, I'll be honest, last week was not amazing for me, not my very favorite. See the evidence of a 3-hole punch machine besting me. Also not my favorite, this president. But when two bad things come together, we get this. Over the weekend, Trump took to Twitter to tweet, so many T's in that sentence, quote, people that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. 401ks are highest ever. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, end quote. And I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm still against tariffs. I don't want higher taxes on things that I'm buying. I don't feel like that's too wild of an idea. Again, tariffs are taxes on us, the Americans. Not enough people know that. But that being said, I still saw it and was like, let me get that $2K. So Trump is out here telling people, quote, a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, end quote. Keyword there, paid. That's cold hard check, I assume. Cold hard check. And then on Sunday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent spoke to ABC News' This Week to clear things up and now says that $2,000 will come in many forms. Quote, It could be just the tax decreases that we are seeing on the president's agenda. You know, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, deductibility of auto loans, end quote. It is so crazy to me that they cannot do anything right. They cannot be on the same page at all. It is incredible. President is just out here saying that everyone's going to get $2,000. Turns out, could just be $2,000 worth of deductibility of auto loans. And in the end, this will not translate. It will not translate because all of his followers will hear that they're getting $2,000 and then we'll point out, you never got your $2,000. And they'll be like, you couldn't possibly understand something about 3D chess. And we'll be like, okay, but you never got your $2,000. And they'll be like, the Democrats took away my health care. And again, I must come back to good government, no notes. What a mind that man has. On that, we can't agree. He certainly has a mind. And that's it. That's the news. I'm proud of the Marines. My grandpa was a Marine. He would not understand this show at all. If I was like, Grandpa, I do a podcast and now it's on YouTube. He would not understand the majority of those words, but he would be very proud that I know about the news. He would be very excited about that. So I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud of the Marines, but more than the United States Marines. No, but more than vanilla cupcakes. It is also Vanilla Cupcake Day because you are also sweet and there could never be enough of you. And sprinkles make you better. And because of that, I'm proud of you.